Live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the Afternoon Swing Trading Floor with your humble host, Jerremy, just with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding you to love life, and trade it. Folks and friends, team and family fans from around the entire world, what is going on? Hope doing amazing and wonderful and incredible and insightfully fantastic. We got ourselves two things today. I'm going to do two things. Number one, we're going to do the Afternoon Swing Trading Room, which you're all a part of and subscribe to, the Transportation Thursday Afternoon Swing Trading Room. Number two, I'm also going to couple that with teaching everyone how to pyramid, because we have a lot of new students signing up today because, apparently the market's crashing and it's a little bit harder to trade now when things don't just go straight up. And we want to talk about how we can plan on getting in and create a way to pyramid into some positions. So that is what today's objective is going to be. And I'm very excited about it. So for those of you watching this recording, we're going to do two things. We're going to be going through some of these trades. And as we go through the trades, we're going to talk about what pyramiding is. But really, I'm going to knock it out right now. So if you're going to watch everything else, you're more than welcome to. Pyramiding is very, very, very simple. We're going to talk about two ways to do it. Number one is math-based. One is math-based. Number two is just price-based. All right. Now, first and foremost, I use pyramiding for investing. I use pyramiding for investing. Some traders use it for swing trading, which is fine. You can use it on options, shares, crypto, doesn't really matter. I do not use it for day trading though. I do not use it for day trading. Because day trading, you're there, in and out that day. You should figure out if you're right or wrong that day. So what is pyramiding? Well, number one is pretty much what you see on the screen. All right, you guys all know, and everyone in the whole world knows at this point, 95% of RLT and myself went to full cash yesterday, right? Full cash yesterday, and everyone for some reason couldn't figure out why I was doing it, and now you know why I did it. So go to cash, buy low, sell high. The market can only go so high. So now, once you sell some positions and you want to rebuy those positions, here's generally what a lot of traders do incorrectly. They go, all right, cool, I'm out. Now let me just get back in. And they take their full investment. Let's say they want to buy 400 shares of something, and they just plop 400 shares, and then poof, now they're in. Don't do that for multiple reasons. Number one, the market's open oftentimes Monday through Friday, which means whatever day you're doing it, there will likely be a tomorrow or a soon of which you can get in. Number two, you're not going to call the bottom, so don't try. You also most likely for a long time won't call the top. And when you're not calling the bottom, when you're not calling the top, you're going to be wrong. There will be a day and a time where you'll be wrong. You'll be scared when you're wrong. And this helps you not panic because number two, you're not getting in all your size. So for example, if I want to get into 400 shares on SPY over the next 2 or 3 months, here's how I plan on doing it. 30 shares at the 10 EMA and 35 shares at the 20 EMA. How many shares will be left? Anybody want to throw that math in there for me? I already know the answer, but anyone else? Should be 335, right? I believe, yeah. 335 shares left. So now I would take another 35 and I would do another 35 here. Why there? Old resistance, new support, very easy. What if it doesn't hit tomorrow? Cool, I heard the market's open a little bit next week. What if it doesn't hit ever? It will. So then on that standpoint, what if it does something like this and then just runs higher? Well, at least I have some, right? Maybe I didn't get my full position, but someone once told me that some is better than zero, and at least I'm in. And if it goes higher, I'm still cranking out and making some money. Then what I will do is I will create a pretty simplistic situation where once I have another 30 shares gone, then I would have 305 shares. I would sell a put down here, which would take away 100 shares, right? So selling a put would take away 100 shares if I get put some shares down there. And then I would leg into the other 205 just along the way. Some at the 50, some here, so on and so forth. Make sense? That's pyramiding. Really, 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 really basic strategy. Most traders do the exact opposite. Now, the reason it's called pyramiding is because it looks like a pyramid. You should buy the most at the bottom and you should buy the least at the top. Most traders and investors do it the exact opposite. Most people will buy 400 shares up here and then one share, one share, one share, one share as it goes lower, right? Don't do that. Okay, that's how you sell, right? Exactly. You flip the pyramid upside down and that's how you sell the position. So you sell a little bit as it goes higher and then you sell the most at the top. Make sense? Really, really easy stuff. So again, pyramid down here would look a lot like that. And then pyramid up here is how you sell a position. So average on the way down, but you average larger size and then you sell more as it goes up. Edward says, let's say you get 65 and it skyrockets. Would you try to buy the dips on the way up and cost average up? Yep, I would. So I come up with my plan on how many I want to get into, and then I will eventually get into that amount at a certain price and at a certain time. But again, let's say it never does and we trade sideways and we take out the high of this bear candle. Am I going to buy some shares up there? Absolutely. Are the shares I'm going to be buying less than these two numbers? Yes, they will. Right? So I wouldn't buy 100 if it breaks above that candle. I'd buy 10 or 15. Make sense? So that's pyramiding. Now, there is a math-based way to do it. Also, very, very, very simple, extremely simple. What is your risk? Okay. So let's say my risk is $50,000 on this investment. That simply means like if the stock goes to one of two things, either below a stop price, below a stop loss, or goes to zero. And usually I base my investing off of it's going to go to zero. All right. That's normally what I do. And I'll show you how I do it. So on SPY, for example, let's say my risk is $50,000. Is SPY going to go to zero? Nope, no, it will not. So I have my, all right, $50,000 of risk based on how many shares I want to buy if SPY goes to zero. So another way to do it, which I did not do in this particular example, but another way to do it is you come up with your risk and you divide by 4. So 50,000 divided by 4. Why 4? That's going to be your pyramid, how many pyramids you're going to have. All right, so what's 50,000 divided by 4? 12,500. Okay, perfect. So now what I do is I come up with where I want to buy based on whatever metrics. It could be moving averages, it could be old support and resistance, it could be fibs, it could be literally whatever you choose. So you come up with your pyramid levels. All right, so let's just say we use the 10, 20, 50, and heavens 100. All right, so now each risk is $12,500. So what I do is I go to 347, right? So if my risk is 12,500, I divide that by 347.83. And what does that come up with? 35.9 shares. So what I did is I simply rounded down, right? I rounded down a little bit. So instead of taking 36, I just made it 30. So what I'm saying is, if I buy these shares of SPY and SPY goes to zero, how much am I going to lose? On that lot, I would lose 12,500. Okay. And I do the exact same math with this one, and this one. And so that helps me calculate how many shares I want to buy. So when I'm investing long-term. I usually base my cost basis on 0 because I don't think that position like Apple, Johnson & Johnson, AMD, Procter & Gamble, Square, whatever you're trading, Walmart, Wix, Shopify, I don't think they're going to go to 0. Edward says the next one is 37.7. That is correct, right? So 37. And then this one right here would probably, I think it's 40. So I made this one 35. I made this one 30. I made this one 45. And then this one over here, because again, it's not going to go to 0, right? SPY just won't. So what it does is it helps you average it on the way down. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think you could do this exact same strategy with a smaller R? So let's say your R is 5,000, okay? And you actually have a stop loss on a position and or a place that you want to buy puts at. So you could say if it's a long-term investment, you're probably going to be buying puts. Okay, so instead of buying puts, maybe you just have a stop loss. Whatever the case is, that's fine. But do you think you could do the exact same math and say, okay, based on from here to here, that's going to be my risk tolerance. So now my risk tolerance is 347.83 minus 302. So 347.83 minus 302.59, because that's where I'm going to buy puts. And now that's a $45 stop loss. So if my risk was $5,000, I take $5,000, 5K, and I divide it by 45.24, and it helps me come up with how many shares am I going to buy at that particular price. And that would be 109 shares that I'll be buying right here at 347. And again, oh, sorry, I forgot to divide by 4. Apologize. I was like, that sounds like a lot. If you have 4 prices, you divide this number by 4, right? So 5,000 divided by 4 equals 1250. And then you do the math, 1250 of risk at each one. Is this making sense? Ask me if you have questions. This is 3rd grade math. So you do 1250, right? Do the numbers, and that comes up with 27 shares that you would buy. And if that just absolutely, if we go all the way down here, you would lose $5,000 total risk if this one, and this one triggered, and then it hit your stop. What questions do you have about that? That is pyramiding. That's how it works. And that's a very, very good thing to do right now. I've taught that numerous times in numerous other classes, but I'll circle back and teach it again. Many, many easy ways to do it. But for me, I think it's really simple to do one of the 2 ways, either math-based or the price-based is if it goes to 0, right? You want to really, really take a bigger position. Because again, investing, you're going to take larger positions, right? Initially, I mean, I don't do like $1,000 R when I do a longer trade. As far as my risk is concerned, I don't do like a $1,000 R. John says, so at 347.83 and 1250, that's 3 or 4 shares. Where would your stop be, John? Right here, 302.59 in this example. Is that what you're asking? Yes. Okay, cool. So again, we'll do the math really quick for John. So 347.83 minus 302.59 equals $45. Right, so you have 45.24. So you take 12.50 and you divide it by 45.24, and you come up with 27. Now, if you want to do my calculators to verify, guys, it's not 3 or 4, it's 27. Can anyone verify that for me? 12.50 divided by 45.24 should be 27.63. So John, you got it? Does that make sense? And again, 1250 would be this one. So that subtracted by that, divided by 1250. Same thing here. This subtracted this. It's the same as your risk. You guys understand that? It's the same exact formula as your R. Same thing. Same exact risk formula. You're just adding a few different positions. John says it's 3 or 4 if you have 5K and you're basing it on 0. Ah, got it. Yep, so that would make sense. So if your entire risk on SPY, if SPY goes to 0 and you're basing it on 0, so you're basing it on price and not math, then you do 5,000, go into 0, do the math over here, and yeah, that would make sense, probably about 3 shares at that point. So this would be 3 shares, this would probably be 3 shares, this would probably be 4 shares, this would probably be like 7 shares or something. And that would be a total $5,000 risk if it went to 0. Mason says, no stops for retirement. Not necessarily true. Again, that's why I have this right here, Mason. This is a protective put. So I use protective puts for my retirement. I do not use stop losses. That is correct. I use long puts. So I buy puts to hedge, or I sell calls, or I do both. Or I go into cash. David says, it seems like price method makes the most sense for long-term investing. Yeah. Totally. I mean, again, for me, if I'm playing, most of my biggest position is on SPY and market indexes anyway for my long-term stuff. But again, you can do like Tesla. I don't personally think Tesla's going to go to 0 at all. So what I do is I still have a relatively large risk exposure, David, on something like Tesla, but then I have certain levels where I do 5th grade math and I come up with what prices do I start buying puts on each pyramid price, and what risk is on each pyramid price. So again, you can probably figure out and extrapolate how to do that, but you can determine, okay, this price, if it breaks this price, I'm buying a put. If it breaks this price, I'm buying a put. If it breaks this price, I'm buying, you know, so on and so forth. So for example, for me on Tesla, I'm not really going to stress about it at all unless it came down to like 180. Because I want some here, I want some here, I want some here, I want some here, I want some put sales down here, I want some shares down here. So I'd be buying the whole way down. And I'd also be buying protective puts as well. I'd be day trading it, I'd be hedging it, selling some calls against it once I get 100. But if you look on this chart, this is a pretty realistic expectation of a pyramid. And again, is this really valuable for someone that has like a $4,000 trading account? And the answer honestly is no, right? This is not really the method for someone if you're trading a smaller size. This is generally 6 figures and higher. And hey, it's absolutely okay for trading the $4,000 account. No worries. You can do it with options, right? As a swing trade. So for example, if an option costs $4 and you set a stop at 0 and you have a risk of 300, okay, you can buy one option at 4, and then you can buy an option at 3, an option at 2, an option at 1, right? Pyramid on the way down. Your total risk at that point becomes approximately 3 Rs. And if it bounces and comes back up to 6 and you sell it, well, you make about 5.5 Rs or so, and your risk was 3 Rs. So technically, you raised 3 Rs, made 5.5 Rs, you made an R1/2. David says, do you list a recommended indices? SPY and Qs, man. That's you're playing the broader markets. Yeah, SPY and Qs. Remember, in my opinion, I think those are really, really advantageously simple ETFs to play. And my primary care physician, his entire strategy is he went all into cash yesterday, by the way. So I have free physical checks for life. But because remember I told you guys that story like 3 to 4 weeks ago after I got to the doctor. I was like, yeah, this is all he does. So all he does is he buys a bunch of Qs a 1 or 2 weeks after the world announces a virus. So once everyone starts freaking out, right? Zika, Ebola, COVID, swine flu, avian flu, pig flu, swine and pig flu, COVID pig flu. So all he does is he takes all of his cash, buys just the Qs. That's all he's in. He's in the Qs when they announce a week or 2 after they announce a pandemic or epidemic or some type of virus that's scaring everybody. That's when he buys the Qs, and then he sells when it's nice and high. That's his whole strategy. Because he said, hey, I'm a doctor. I know how this stuff works. And 1 of 2 things happen. Either the world ends or we go higher. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. So anyway, that's pretty much it. That's pyramiding. Pretty basic, pretty simple. Again, 3rd grade math, which is exciting. I like 3rd grade math. I got an A in 3rd grade math. That's where it stopped. Ever since 4th grade, I was like, I don't know what fractions are. Why are we multiplying fractions? What's going on here? Why do I have to do like the same lower numbers of this? What? Denominator? Oh boy. Oh man, denominators. What's going on with those things? But again, any questions, dear friends, about that? Any questions? Cool. So again, that's for me a big, nice perspective on just how you can dollar cost average effectively. The easiest thing to keep in mind is you're not going to get the exact bottom. It's going to take some time. You guys remember I did that on GoDaddy, right? GDDY. I had a pyramid here, a pyramid here, a pyramid here, and a pyramid here. And I almost caught the second pyramid. I only got a piece of the pyramid, and I sold all my pyramid, all the top yesterday. So sold those bad boys next, and then I'll probably re-pyramid on this one. Here, 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 and then here. And then my stop loss and protective puts would be based at 50. So again, then I'll have my risk, which would be 5,000. Divide by 4, 1250, and I'll just do my math based on each price, and that's how I'll calculate the shares. Pretty cool stuff, huh? Yeah, awesome. So for those of you watching this video, you're welcome to continue to watch it. What we're about to do is go into the rest of the afternoon swing trading room, but I hope that helps. That is pyramiding, and that will be the video that we'll share with anyone who ever asks, what is pyramiding? Only because it's a term that not very many people use, honestly. So I totally get it. If you guys are asking the question, I absolutely understand. All right, sweetness. Let's go get the first stock on the list, which is Comcast. Jason says, not a pyramid scheme. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Not quite a pyramid scheme. Look at that. Day trading module 4 right there. Who's ready for that class tonight? All right. So Comcast. It's Comcast. If you have Comcast internet and you want to own some shares, go for it. Don't have any position in this one. If I did have a position, I would have sold it yesterday at open. And that's pretty much it. So look to buy Comcast nice and low. Next on the list is Intel. Again, Intel, had to get out of Intel yesterday, right? Even though I didn't want to, that's what my plan says. And Hector, I think we're happy about that, right? Call options, shares, whatever, they were barely profitable, but they were not losing. So if I'm looking at getting back into Intel, so this one for me, a very small pyramid, tiny little pyramid, not a huge risk, because I don't specifically love Intel. It's not a trade that I'm like a massive fan on. I know it's going to go higher over time. I'm quite confident about that. But this is how I would play it. I would play it with a pyramid that looks something like this. And then I would start getting into some protective puts right around here. And again, if you wanted to do a leap, so let's say you wanted to do a long-term leap on Intel. Right, you could, the $60 January 2022 call option, you set up some limits, and again, you have one of two choices. You can say, all right, I'm gonna make that, if the option goes to 0, this is how much I lose, or if the option goes to $1 or $2, you kind of like a general price for how much that option is, but it's, since it is out the money, it shouldn't specifically be, you know, that much. And so I'll look at an actual real life example. So Intel, the $60 call right now is trading at a measly $5. So if I have a $3,000 risk on Intel, right, and I want to say I'm okay for this to go to 0, but really I won't. Right here, I'll start buying some protective puts. So I would buy 2 options there at $5. I would buy 3 options here at $4. I would buy 5 options here at $3, and that would pretty much be it. And then if they go to 0, I lose $3,000, which is 3 R's, and if it bounces, I don't. But even if it does not go to 0, I can start buying protective puts here, and you have until January 2022. The question all comes down to this, like, are you okay with the risk? Some traders, you might be okay with that. Some traders, you might not be. I mean, it's really up to you. But for me, it's okay. But anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts on Intel. If you were looking at playing it, here's PENN, P-E-N-N, and PENN National Gaming. Nice evening star reversal pattern at an all-time high. Very nice high wave candle. And the interesting, cool part about PENN is, at least according to math, and again, I'm not a math specialist. All I'm doing is pressing the buttons. But PENN's up 1,200% since March. No big deal. So I think it's either a good time to just wait and not really be in heavy bullish, or plan a place to buy some dips, or maybe look to see if you want to short it. I still think shorts have been relatively hard out there in the markets, even though you had a little bit of selling today. They were not as easy as you would imagine. I mean, we made money on them, but they weren't that bad. Evening star reversal, if you want to maybe play something bearish, this would be where, and then it'd probably come down to 42.50 and then just look to go long again. Again, I'm still all about buying this dip. This is not the exact all-time high of the market. I can assure you of that. In the next 50 years, we will not be looking back at this going, oh, wow, Newsom got the exact high ever, and it never went higher. That's not what we'll be talking about. We will go higher than this. It's just, now that we called the top, now everyone wants to call the bottom, which is cool. I get paid a lot to call the bottom, so let's figure it out. We'll do our best together. This is a team effort, folks. Team effort. All right, sensuous energy. That doesn't look that bad. Volume on this one is not spellbinding, but I do kind of like that hammer. We will be setting up some swing trades there, that's for sure. 991, 986. I don't hate that. Weekly chart looks okay. Oh, look at this monthly. Oh, that looks ugly. Man. This line graph looks like the amount of girls who liked me after I turned 12. Look at this. Man. Doesn't look appealing, but maybe for a short-term trade, we can snag him back something. I don't know. Let's put on the list. What's tomorrow? Friday? Okay. Good old Finance Friday. All right. Since you was gone, I can't breathe for the foot. So American Airlines had an interesting gap up today. I actually do like the fact that it closed positive. It did close up. That does show that people still care and they're trying to press it higher. So same thing with cruise lines. I actually do kind of like this weekly chart. Now, do I think that we're going to break through the weekly chart? I don't know. I would imagine that we would at some point. I have no clue if this will be it, but I do like the fact that airlines and cruise lines and whatever did have a little bit of a pop today and didn't get beat up as bad as the broader market. I think some money is going to flow out of tech and maybe into some of these positions just because they are down and they want to kind of go to maybe they start rotating out of it. Inside weekly candle, which I like, and I will be watching these very, very closely over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'm expecting some kind of bounce. Even if it's like a 2-3 day bounce, right? Just something really, really fast. So Southwest Airlines, hoping to get called away at 40. Although it might not happen, I do love the fact that we were in the money today, but it doesn't matter because, yesterday, profitable position. So Southwest, it wasn't anything crazy. This is one that was a 25.48 limit buy based off of the weekly 200 simple moving average. So again, Southwest, you guys know, fly it all the time. If I go somewhere, usually I go Southwest. By the way, Falco, I plan on being in Boise soon. Keep that in mind. Southwest, going to take this off the screen, and we'll just keep these lines for right now. Obviously, Southwest, a little bit of the stronger looks. The 200 right here. If you do have some shares of Southwest, which I don't really have that many shares of anything right now. You could do some covered calls or a collar. I do like the little high wave candle, but really, it's relatively for the most part, just hanging out. All right, Tesla. So you kind of already saw my Tesla chart, but we'll do it again. So Tesla, I did get filled at 13 shares at 420.69. So if you know anything about Tesla, obviously you get that joke. And got some $100 put sales for December, and got numerous 280s. This will be my largest position by far if Tesla comes all the way down here and closes below 280 in October. It won't even be close. So speaking of pyramiding in, got some at 10, got some at 11, did some more at 14 today. I told everyone that Tesla would drop after the split. Didn't I? I told you guys. I said once it splits, it's going to sell off. It'll sell off. You got one exuberant day, and then bloop. I told you guys. Come on now. I've traded Tesla once or twice. I know this thing. So I didn't want to go to cash on it yesterday, but had to follow that plan. So anyway, got some shares. I got some more shares set up, ready to go at 383.34. And Yeah, let's see what happens. Roberts, where is your, these are great memes, by the way. Okay. 50%. Oh, that would be nice. Come on, come down to 286. I dare you. So what Robert is saying is you got a fib at 401.07, 333.87, and 286.52, and then 235.76. So the lower Tesla goes, the more inclined I am to buy some. I'm also going to be selling volatility for a while on Tesla because it's going to be so fun. Right? Edward says, come on, who bought Tesla at 500? Yeah, who did it? Who here bought Tesla at 500? Come on, someone did. There he was. I was waiting for Craig. I was gonna make sure Craig was like, come on, dude. But hey, it's all right. It's okay. All is good. All is good. I still love you. Love is everywhere. No big deal. All right. So the cool news is Tesla, yes, I do expect it to go a little bit lower, but nothing disastrously crazy. And we'll see what happens on Tesla. All right. Work had the greatest gap down I've ever seen today, and Edward made me miss it. So there's always that. So Slack Technologies had the gap up and is gapping down post-market a little bit. I think they had earnings, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have any position on work anymore. They don't. Earnings are 9/8 next week. Okay, thank you. So earnings are next week. So got all of these guys. And again, for those who have covered calls, those are now worthless. So just go ahead and buy those back, especially Josh's. Josh's are gone. All those covered calls should be worthless today. So you can all buy those back. Edward says, you still have your calls? I do not. No, exit those calls. It's too high, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I left the sold calls open as a naked call and then just bought them back. I did that on all the covered calls. I left all the covered calls I sold as naked call options. Yeah, I mean, it was one. It was one little measly guy up there, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But anyway, this was a phenomenal gap down. Here's a 3-minute chart. And I mean, one of the greatest gaps I've ever seen. We're going to talk about this tonight in the day trading class, but this is just like, this rollover is life. I remember a time in the market where you got one of these a week. Seriously. You would get one of these type of gaps every single week. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, how many people are here right now? I need 79 people to type in a 4 if you can see how to play that one. It is the easiest setup I've ever seen. Shorting here, stop up here, or shorting at the low, stop up here. Either way, absolute home run. Such an easy gap. Wasn't even on my list today. Mostly because everything was gapping down. But the reason this was such a special gap is because you had all these buyers. Everyone was buying up here, and everyone bought at the open on yesterday, I'm sure. So, plus it just came right into a trend line. You know, right into good old trendy McTrendtown yesterday. Now again, is Slack going to go zero? No, it's just selling off of everything else, and we'll eventually kind of recover. All right, next on the list is Crowdstrike, CRWD. I did make a 0.1R on Crowdstrike. I actually forgot I had a day trade open when I went to the dentist. I had so many orders in today that it just was really, really far down the list in IB. Anyway, so long story short, Crowdstrike, I played it as a double bottom right here. I set the order up. I just totally forgot to cancel it, and I got out here. I mean, just very, very, very small gain, 0.1R, almost not even worth mentioning. But anyway, I actually like this move on Crowdstrike. I love the fact that it's gapping down post-market. Robert, you sold this one too, or you still have those covered calls? I think it's gone. All right, nice. So Crowdstrike's gone. Yeah, looking at rebuying some dips on CRWD. So earnings is over, and this is a really, really interesting topping pattern. Robert says, once the implied volatility collapsed today, I bought to close the call. and sold the shares. Nice. And then sold the 95 put. Got it. 95 for October, I think you said. So Robert got a 95 put sale on Crowdstrike, which means he wants to own at least 100 shares of Crowdstrike at $95. Okay, so he wants to own at least 100 shares. It could, I mean, it could be doing 1,000 shares. You never know with Robert, but at least 100 shares. 95 put sale October. Other limit buys will be down here at this space, but I like this pullback, and I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen on Crowdstrike. Boeing. Philip Williams is probably buying back this covered call. He keeps selling them. And I have bought back that sold put for November. And I probably will do it again. If Boeing hits the 100 simple on the daily chart, I will sell another put on Boeing, most likely. Most likely around 100, 110, 115, something like that. Maybe 125. So that's my plan. If Boeing hits the 100 simple moving average, I will consider selling some 125, 120, 115, something like that. November put sales on Boeing. Delta Airlines hanging out. Again, I actually do kind of like this gap on the airlines. It does show a little bit of strength. It tells me that when the market recovers and has a little bit of a bounce, I think these are going to go with it. Some of the money flow is going to go out from the tech a little bit into some of these beat up stocks because people are looking for value. I love this candle on Delta, and I could say that if you have an inside day candle on Friday, this could absolutely be a trade. It really could. Delta, cruise ships, everything actually looks all better than you think. It feels better than you think, in my opinion. So let's go Friday. Delta, watch that one for a little quick trade. Might even be a weekly options newsletter trade, never know. Okay. Next on the list is FUV. So this thing hanging out, not doing anything, trading down. The support is $5.36. And that's a big old resistance, new support. The trader who is really looking at this one says this one might maybe pop during battery day as they're working a lot on Tesla products. But it doesn't look like it's going to come back down to 536 before that happens. So let's just wait, be patient, see what happens, give a little bit of time. But as of right now, it doesn't look majestically strong. So it's going to keep hanging out for a while. Next on the list is Norwegian, NCLH. And again, man, we were so close. So I did not exit my Norwegian calls, as you guys know, because I was down on them yesterday. And I didn't cut any losers. So I got stopped out of progeny today. I will talk about that in just a moment. But I didn't cut my losers yesterday, only my winners, lock in profits, because my losers, I know how much I'm going to lose for sure. If I had left everything open from yesterday, today would have been a red. Today would have made me feel like I probably would have lost 300 grand, most likely. I don't know. But it would have been a little bit on the red side. I think on Norwegian, this one was a small loser, but it did flash for like 18 seconds. It was profitable today. I could have sold it profitable. It just didn't hit 350. So my target was 350. It actually did go up to like 320 and some change. I could have sold it for a gain today. Was I being overly financially zealous? No, I don't think so. I mean, we have a December and I have the target in there. So I tried. I tried my best. So at this point, I will update the target to 365 in all my accounts, and we'll just see if we can hit 365. Because remember, we still have December. Still have December, and at this point, you've probably been dollar cost averaging pretty well on these call options. So I'm going to move up this stop to now $1. And at this point, my absolute worst loss on Norwegian, if it just absolutely poops its pants, I will lose 2 R's on Norwegian. Edward wants to get back in. If it pulls back into here, snag it and bag it. Otherwise, let it potentially have an inside day candle tomorrow. And if it takes out the high of the inside candle next week or the week after, will be where to get in. So that's pretty much what we got there. The Love Doctor says, what is an R? So my dear friend, if you get a chance, Anil, I would love for you to hop over to the beginner's trading class and go through that. Start there. What is an R? Taught in module 2 of the beginner series. And I will also send you an article on it. It is under risk management. And since it's such an important article, it's literally the only one. So there you go, sir. Check it out. All right, so that is Norwegian Cruise Lines. Next on the list is Carnival. Again, Carnival, really okay gap today. This is going to be a super, super interesting day. Again, we could drop, and I'm not worried about that, but boy, oh boy, if we start holding, again, for a short-term gain, I'm not saying anything amazing. I'm just saying some quick bill paying money, some in and out. Start watching these cruise lines, folks. I'm telling you, start watching them. We get to close about this weekly 20, a week or two of sideways action, and then pop goes the weasel. These things can fly. And I heard if you buy a lot of things at $1 and sell it for $2, you can make money. That's just what I've heard. So keep your eyes on Carnival. Really fun options. I told Tony that I've been selling bull put spreads on Norwegian as well on some of the down days, taking advantage of some of the bull put spreads. So I kind of like that. Kind of a fan. Interested in see what happens. Plug it in. Plug it in. Plug with a drop. Nice drop on plug. Plug. It's a nice gap. I mean, man, should that be a double top? There was a time where I would actually play that as a double top. There was a time. I might, though. I might try that one. That could also be a potential weekly options newsletter candidate, or just a short trade, or maybe some put trade. I would like to play something bearish. We have a bearish swing trade. We did get stopped out of one today. Progeny, it was a bullish trade. These options are not expensive. $12 put. Where can we buy a $12 put? 1160. Oh, 1160 with a stop at 60. Jason says Cloudera. I think plug is still on the screen. I hope it should be. Plug. No, it's not very expensive. Oh, for a bear trade? We can look at it later. I don't think so. Okay, so I'm going to get in this one. Bear limit buy on puts. Regular October, as you guys all know, regular October. $12 puts, $1.60 limit with a stop at 60 cents. Not really a weekly options newsletter trade, just regular old swing trade. All right, here we go. New official swing trade. Put it in there, and I can go ahead and set that up really quick while we're going on to the next one. All right, I'll put that in here. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, swing trade. Bloop. Pop it over there. Good eggs on snap calls. We might be able to play snap again. Is today the 2nd or the 3rd? I don't even know. The day of which I had. You guys will be so proud of me. All right. I think it's a great setup based on a retest gap. It's open because it's not triggered yet. And $1.60, 60, 26. We'll do, I don't know, $3. And good to cancel. Boom. All right, that order is in, ready to go. Easy done. Okay, next on the list is ZTO. ZTO Express, don't see anything on this one yet. Nice gap down, really good looking move, really decent close, possible double bottom. Wow, that's a little up there, huh? Nice little retest. Man, how cool would it be if we got some selling? There's no way. This is going to trap everyone. All right, I'm going to wait a few days. I just can't sell it here because we'd be selling after a 9% drop. Like if you're going to short it, you got to short it up here in this gap. Look at this gap and go. Whoo, poor person who bought there. I know why they did it too. I can see why they did it. Look at that hammer. I probably would have done the same thing. That was the hammer to get in on, though, right there. That was it. That was it. August 21st. Yeah, I'll wait on ZTO. Just get out in some time. Okay, AYX. I did leg into some AYX positions. So tiptoeing in. Here we go. Limit buy 30 shares is filled at 116.96. I also have a January 2022 $16 160 lead for $19. That's an absolute zero, and I'll add to it a little bit later. Falco has a $100 put sale for September. Nice. Nice. I didn't even think about that. Maybe I'll sell one of those tomorrow. RF, September. How much are those bad boys going for? Didn't even think about September output sale. Ooh, nice, $1.20. Okay, it's not bad. Not bad. Weekly chart. Again, I still think this gap's going to fill, but I am legging into some shares, legging into some leaps. I got a 40 share limit at 109.01, and we'll find out what happens. Okay. INBX. Inhibrix. Ooh, closed positive on the day. Nice. Up 9% with an okay amount of volume. All right, we'll come back and look at what it does tomorrow, and then we might set that trade up tomorrow. I want to close with a neckline, and then I'll take the retest. Why do I want to wait on a close? It sounds like a pharmaceutical company. Health, technology, and biotech. Oh, it's already, oh, never mind. Yeah, I might even play that one with call options. Because those things, man, you can get like a massive gap and just gaps right over your stop, and then you're really sad. Then you're a sad panda. SLQT. So this one did bounce, but sold yesterday. Just a quick little swing trade. Nothing special. And I think earnings is around the corner. SLQT. When do we have these? 9th, September 9th. Okay. We'll wait on select quote. I don't know if anyone remembers my initial early analysis on this one when that hammer came in, but pretty much my analysis was it would do something like that after that drop came in, and it did both versions. Here's the small one, here's the bigger one. Either way, that doesn't really matter. I do like it. We'll see what it does over earnings. Looks like it's building a double bottom. That's exactly correct, Diego. I absolutely agree. Let's see what happens on earnings and then come back to it later. Twitter. Edward took a swing trade on Twitter today. Probably buying the dip of that retest gap, most likely. And yeah, we'll see if it bounces. Twitter, pretty sideways right now, but it's not an all-time high, and it did have a decent pullback. I do like it. It pulled back to the 20 EMA, so best of luck on that one, Edward. Keep us posted. Let us know how it goes. Next on the list, CGen. Compugen. Ooh, Compugen. Again, I would like to buy it. I mean, look at that hammer. I really want to buy a put right there. Just that and that. I'm not going to make enough money on that, though. If you requested Compugen, that's how I would play it. That's a good close blow, a very strong hammer. Marta, we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Good question. The answer is it won't be tomorrow, though. All right. Next on the list is Workhorse. Diego says that's a failed hammer, right? Diego's been watching my swing trade class. Yeah, brother, that is. It's a failed hammer. That's why I think it's probably going to go a little bit lower on Compugen. Workhorse looks kind of like everything else today. It didn't hold out by itself. So what I'm thinking on Workhorse is be bullish to neutral in this one until it hits 1491, which is the 50 EMA. It just looks like a distribution phase. And when you play distribution phases, you want to buy it as low as you can. Now, obviously, you can swing trade any time frame, right? Any time frame with any strategy. So if on Workhorse, your whole strategy's been to buy off the blue line and sell it at a higher price, well, you're winning. If that's your strategy, buy off the blue line and sell at a higher price and then have a stop loss in place, you're doing okay. So it's back at the blue line, see if it bounces. If that's your strategy, best of luck. Don't have any position on Workhorse. TYL. What's up, bro? I'm Tyler. So I was looking at this trade as a potential swing trade. It's just it's an expensive little stock. Options on it aren't that great. And it's a very nice high wave candle. If I did that trade setup, I don't think we would get really great risk reward. We'd probably end up being in that trade until earnings, honestly. So what I'll do is I'll put that on the list for Tuesday. Tuesday, Tyler. And let's find out what happens. Maxar Technologies. All right, snagging some Maxar. Just a little bit starting to tiptoes into the water on MAXR. It did fill that gap, and then just a very small toe, the pinky toe. Bigger toes come in down here with this gap fill. Edward says, I got Uno Leap today. Nice, Edward. Which one did you buy on Maxar? Today is 9/3 EL, January 2022. 35 calls. Nice. Those are cheap. Did they give those to you? Did you even have to pay for those? That should be like a door prize. All right, cool deal. We'll keep an eye on Maxar Technology, but it looks nice on a little bit of a pullback. All right, QDEL. So I have some people snagging some QDEL positions as well. No, this was not drawn today, but QDEL, if you're planning it, again, you're most likely small size, tiny share size, or buying an option or two for much longer term. Stock's been around for a while and has been on a pretty good tear. So we'll see what happens on QDEL, but I think the bounce is relatively soon. If you're looking at picking up some smaller positions or some shares or some leaps on QDEL. First Solar, I love this pulling back. Big fan of this pullback. So we'll keep waiting on First Solar. So it looks nice. Mike says Tesla's at 392 after hours. Awesome. Beautiful. All right, Snapchat, SNAP. We can set this trade up officially. I'll do it with shares this time. Although the options did work out okay, I'll just do it with shares. We'll play that inside candle. Just like that. Okay. 2346 by 2222. That'll be the setup on Snapchat. Target, I don't really know yet, but just since we're going to put one in an OCO, I'll throw it up here. All right. New official swing trade on Snapchat. New official swing trade on Snap. Okay, 9/3/2020 SNAP. Let's go. Snapchat 2346 2222. You can do that with options if you want. I mean, it's obviously entirely up to you. It's a good setup either way, options or shares. Okay, that's it. And that's Snapchat. Next on the list is Chevron, CVX, Chevron. I was looking at waiting one more day on this one because of that candle right there. Yep. One more day. So now what I want to do is prove itself and then pull back the dip. So we'll give Chevron a few more days. Robert says on Tesla, a nice gap down overnight will be great. Freak people out in the morning and set up a nice little fade. Yes, it will. Told you guys, Tesla's going to sell off after the split. 383.34, come on. Let's go, Tesla. Bow, 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 bow. Come on down. That's why you got to go to cash. Buy low, sell high. All right. XPEV. I think we're setting this one up today. Are we? No, not yet. Hasn't gone higher. So XPEV just going lower. Let's go look at Wednesday. I'll put that on the list for Wednesday. Next on the list is VIAV, Viacom, Via Solutions. Had a great hammer on it yesterday, and it just obviously, I mean, that's a failed hammer. Wow. VIAV, we could just flip that around. I'd love to short that one. Just like that. Is it good with options? Let me go see these options really quick. Wow, they're cheap. Real cheap. I could do $13 puts and have no stop at all. Buy them at like $1.20. Yep. That's what I will do. Okay. Bearish puts, limit buy. Wait, I said $1.20. Hold on. If the market goes up, these go down. I literally just had a brain freeze and forgot how options works. So the bid is 90 cents. So we could buy these at 70 cents for October. No stop loss needed. Absolute zero, right? Which is just taking my risk and just dividing it out of 70 cents. And if that works, cool. And if it doesn't work, cool. But at least we got a little bit of hedge on the downside in case we get some more selling. Joseph says, is it at a strong support? Is it at a strong support? Could be, man. I mean, that could be a double bottom. It's possible. Which one's going to work? I don't know. I mean, I'm game to go bullish and bearish. I got to set both of them up because I don't know what's going to happen in the market. Are we going to get literally one day of selling and that's it and we're just back to the races? Probably. Probably. But I will have both trades in just in case on VIAV. So I will have puts, I will have shares, I will have longs, I will have shorts. I'll be ready to go in either situation and let the market do the rest of the work for me. Victor says, which strike puts? Let me just make sure it's on the chart. I did not. Thank you, Victor. $13. Appreciate the heads up on that, sir. Okay. So that's only 70 cents for the purchase with no stop. We do it with options. I think it's a good trade. It's not great. Based on a gap and go, though, and it is open because not triggered yet. And I will set that one up now. Really easy to set up options. 70 cents. Okay. Already in the play, already in, ready to go. All right, Snapchat, we can cancel this one. Chevron, I can cancel. Oh, we're going backwards. Maxin, I liked Maxin a lot. This is one that Lita Roberts wanted me to set up, or not wanted me to set up, wanted me to look at, and I love this trade. So that's going to be going. That's official. So thank you, Miss Lita. If it doesn't work, you know, you get all the blame, but if it works, you also get all the praise. So that'll be a target, and let's do it. Looks like a nice pennant pattern to me, and again, setting some things up both ways. New official swing trade. Got a lot of cash. It's burning a hole in my pocket. How about yours, guys? Is your guys burning a hole? Like, what do I do? Set up some trades. 22.96 with a stop loss at 17.66. Okay, I think this is a great trade based on a retest gap. Opening is not triggered yet. And got it everywhere it needs to be. Perfect. Next on the list, DraftKings, DKNG. And DraftKings, I love this trade. I don't think it's going to trigger anytime soon, so I'm not going to set it open. But We'll come back to it. Let's come back to it Tuesday. That looks really, really pretty, but it's not, I don't think it's going to trigger. Progeny. So we finally got stopped out of Progeny if anyone was in that trade, and we got wicked out nonetheless. So Progeny been in forever. And if you remember, we got Augusted on this one, missing the target by 7 cents on a swing trade. And then somehow it gapped down like 20% or whatever it was the next day. So Progeny, we did get stopped out of Progeny. I guess I'm happy about that one. Only lost 0.6 Rs. So really nice small loss on Progeny. No big deal. Our Zoom day trade made up for pretty much all of our losses. Camping worldwide, wide. I do like it. I think I'll give 2 or 3 more days before I lower the stop. But camping worldwide, that is a bearish trade that we do have open. And that's really it. We don't have tons and tons of trades. So we have Norwegian, we got that camping worldwide, and then Beyond Meat. So Beyond Meat missed our stop by like 3 pennies. Pretty wild stuff. So I'm still in on Beyond Meat. This trade was looking amazing. I was like, this is the greatest trade I've ever placed. And then like 19 minutes later, I was like, this is the worst trade I've ever placed. It was really funny to see how it just really switched. But man, great day to sell a bull put spread or a put sale. Sell some volatility on Beyond Meat. I mean, if you're a credit spread fan, there's tons of volatility down there for September and or October. So Beyond Meat, just keep watching that one. Smile Direct, SDC. Smile Direct held up today. Held up, and it is gapping down a little bit post-market. So I'm thinking that Smile Direct, we could do a limit buy on Smile Direct. Because again, just getting a nice warm collection of bull and bear trades. Justin says, by the way, the full moon was yesterday, so maybe it does work. Bro, why do you think I sold everything? If only you knew how much I use that moon phase. If only you knew, dude. Edward says, do you really? Dude, go back trade it. You think I'm kidding? It works amazing. Philip Williams says, sell the class. Guys, all right, I got to pull it up really quick. Here it goes. Check this out. Amazing. The day of. That is the SPY. This is the SPY. That's it, dude. Bam! Boom, son. Get at me. Get at me. I got my own things. All right. Smile Direct. That's a really high wave. Let me give 2 or 3 more days on Smile Direct. 2 or 3 more days. 2 or 3 more days. Edward says, what's the moon phase on this one? Moon phases are all the same across all stocks. That's what's really cool. Revolve. High today was 22. Okay, so this one's going to definitely be a stop with a lower limit. So I'm gonna make the stop 22.18 with the limit of 21.65. All right. Got it. So Revolve, pretty much waiting for this kind of thing to happen. So we get our order goes live at 22.18, but it won't fill until 21.65. New official swing trade. Okay, if all these fill, I'll be in like 80% cash. Because again, these are all cheap. These are cheap stocks, and we got a lot of them options. Don't forget that. So 21.65 with a stop loss of 19.78. That was a good year. All right, shares. I think it's a great setup actually, based on a retest gap. Opening is not triggered yet, and beautiful. Okay, revolve, done and done. Spotify. So Spotify, really easy to play. I'm going to rebuy my calls at 242.84. Throw an order somewhere around the bid. I don't know exactly what price that's going to be. I can get close. I want to buy them for a little bit less than we bought them for last time. All right, Ed? That would be like best case scenario. So we'll try to buy them around 30-ish. We'll see if it gets down that, maybe 40-ish, I don't know, but somewhere 40 to 30 range. But yeah, buy low, sell high, let it pull back and let it do its thing. CureVac looks actually okay. Brand new IPO, probably won't trigger. I'm gonna set that up for tomorrow if it still looks good. CVAC, interested to see what the broader market does. Anil wanted me to look at some cryptos. So we can go to Tezos really quick. Now I've looked at this for him already, so I won't have to be that fast. So Tezos US dollar, Anil 275.09. I know you got the chart from our other discussion. So nice looking trend on this one. Like here's the trend line right here. So definitely want to buy some here and then buy a little bit more if you really get that puke. And then XTZ, US dollar. So this one on probably $2.6524 and $1.8578. That's where you're going to be looking at buying the areas down there and trying to buy the pullback on those two. Bitcoin definitely pulling back today. So I guess I should have gone all the cash on everything, but I never saw a lot of crypto, although should have. Potential head and shoulders on the daily chart. So I might hedge with a short somewhere out there, but I'll still accumulate. And 10,500, we still have not closed above 12,000. 12,000 will be that brick wall. So I am going to cancel my targets at 14, because now if we ever close above 12,000, something much more grandiose is going to happen. And so until then, I'll wait. 10,000 is the next lower limit to buy some positions if you want to buy some. And last but not least is Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren, a little bit strong today. Good close, nice looking candle, nice gap. Going to be on my watch list for some day trades tomorrow if it continues higher. And as far as a swing trade, we probably should keep that on our list just because it has a little bit of strength, and we'll look at it on Tuesday of next week. All right, what do you guys want to look at tomorrow? CEN, OSH, RXT, RKT, Apple, AMD, Tesla, RPRX, Nuon, CASY, Cloudera, Fuel Cell, 5, Upwork, LEU, Delta, NEWR, Uber, UDAO, AXTA, SQM, INBX, SDC, CVAC, CCC, and EGO. All right, cool. I'll be here same time, same place tomorrow. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye.